Oh yeah. This is it, guys. Welcome back to another text stream. Question mark, exclamation point, comma, colon, exclamation. Already getting started with that. Wow. Wowie. What a great new background. It's like the other one. It's like that one, but different. My friend made this for me, so thank you to them. Anyway, we're gonna do some programming, but we also have to do some server stuff, so we're gonna go ahead and do some of that today as well. So let me go ahead and power on the server. You'll see it here. When it turns on, you'll see a green light on one of the blue cables. You'll also hear a massive amount of noise from the double GPU setup. I thought GPUs were silent. Oh shit. Explosion. Shit explosion. Okay, my server. K Serioso. I'm Oogish Bobby. By the way, I color code my cables, so if you didn't know that, now you know. It's partially why all of the cables are different colors. The gray one goes to my host and shit. I think that's what I need, bro. Nmap. Yeah, give me that. I don't go anywhere without a copy of Nmap on me. At all times, I carry one copy of Nmap, if not more. So, congratulations. Congratulations. Good job. Time to continue. Wait. Did I even check the audio? Test. Yeah, the voice of God. Beautiful. SSH. Heisenberg. At 10.1.10.237. Noise. Give it a second. It's just booting up. Actually, well, it's already booted up. It's just opening up my stuff. I have it pre-configured to launch. Holy shit. Bro, the CPU usage is like 0%. God damn. There's literally nothing plugged into it, and there's nothing enabled that's going to use a lot of CPU, like, you know, Wi-Fi, for example. So this thing is amazing. You got that much. Then you got your 2 GPUs. Arguably the most important feature of this server is the 2 GPUs. I see a bunch of migratics, but they're not doing anything. They're just sitting there. I guess they're waiting. I don't know. AMD GPUs, only real thing going on. Barely increases GPU usage. You can only tell because the VRAM is a little bit up. Anyway. So that's one of the things. Now if I go over to my other side, if I hit Control B, and I go and Control B and I do a 0, take myself to the. This is a mess, but we'll probably mess around with all of this eventually. I just have to update it today, and then anytime I reconnect to it, you'll see that it will just take us to here. It'll be like tmux attach. So all I would do is I'd type in detach or something like that, like tmux detach, and then yeah, that will happen. So anyway, sudo void. No, what am I doing, bro? What is it? XBPS? kbps, what is it? The fucking xbps dash install dash su. Cool. Yes. It's gonna take a minute. So, meantime, gonna take us to the other side. Gonna open me thingamajib. Kate, bro. We're gonna do most of the programming here. We're just gonna use SCP to copy it over. Thank you to the SCP Foundation for making this possible today. Fast fetch? What do I have fast fetch in there? Wow, why is Kate so fucking small for some goddamn reason? Urk. Nice, I can just watch it update. How the Void Machine so far? Void Machine's good. What I want to add to my Void Machine is probably this thing. So every time I log in, it just spits a random bunch of information into one of those. So that way I have something to go learn for each day. So it'll be like a thing. Do thing.trans, bro. Also, I realized you can have multiple this constructors with different things in them. And you can add up unary for adding a minus and minus to the front. And I was thinking, what if we made our own version of that fucking C++ cubes using classes and op unary? And I'm like, oh yeah. But is that something we really want to do today? Also, I can send files to the server too, using SCP, and I can just SCP them into the one directory. So like, if I go to my server real quick, let's go ahead and do SYU now. I have no idea how updating on this void works. Alright, let's go ahead and clear the screen. So ls/drive 2 lost and found. That's all there is there. Now if I do lsblk, you'll see I got my 2 different drives. SDA is a 500 gigabyte hard drive. I don't know. It's beautiful though. It's beautiful. So how do you even measure hard drive health? I have no clue even. What if I do smart? Is smart a tool I have access to? I don't know. Anyway, smart hard drive health or some shit. Hard drive health assessment. I finally can hear you. My audio lost and void, so I have sepdn my time, or set my time in the wiki and the Reddit to fix the audio. Reddit's the answer to most problems, by the way, guys. If you have a problem, it's probably on Reddit. Well, actually, no, not the problem. The problem's not on Reddit. I think Linus would agree with the sentiment that Reddit's the solution to a lot of the problems. What's the small box? This is the router. I don't know. I just needed something that looks cool for the video, and so I was like, fuck. My 5 a.m. alarm, bro. 5 a.m. alarm. But anyway, I just needed something that is interesting besides, what, the keyboard? So that way you guys have something interesting to look at. Bro, I'm just bullying this fucking... What do you call it? Tripod? The camera is mounted on some very interesting stuff. OMG, use Arch Linux. Bro, it's Linus, bro. Look, it's Linus. Also, you should try more desktop environments for your needs, or varying ones. Oh, I like this one. I've tried Fluxbox and I've tried FVWM3. I like them both. Although I feel like Fluxbox is kind of lame now. Because look at this. I got menu stuff, and I just click on the screen. I can be like, Blender, OBS Studio, VLC, GIMP, Prism Launcher, my gamer tools, bro. You guys have seen me set this up. Oh. Yeah, Linus look good. Yeah. Alright, back to it. We could, what are we doing? So we need to do some stuff with DUB. Do I even have DUB installed? These are the questions I have to ask myself today. But before we do anything, I want to see where we're at with Jester.d and see if it's worth working on. So I can add it to my server as a greeter to my server and be like, logging into fish server. Message of the day. And it just spits out something from the D-Lang book. Like, fun facts. Did you know? And then it's just an excerpt from the D-Lang book. It's like B-movie script. That's the idea. I'm getting distracted. So let's go ahead and mkdir / drive to, and let's make a dir called D-Lang backup. I don't know. I just create a D-Lang in there. Permission denied. So sudo ls / drive to. Nice. Oh wow. cd drive to. I wonder how this even works, bro. Drive to / D-Lang. cd to my home, please. Heisenberg. Yeah. Alright. For now, I don't really need the server, but I turned it on, so that's cool. Let's go ahead and get Kate open so I can start working on this stuff. And I have no idea where we left off with this. It's time to also open the Animate Arch tab. Xterm. Wowie. cd d / lang. And then I should have projects in here. I think it was Jester. Bro, Jarvan's failed. I like object-oriented code though. Cat, and then Jester. Oh. Nice. /Jester. Core exception .array index error. Index 0 is out of bounds for array length of 0. Oh, I know exactly how to fix that one. Cool. Back to the top. So, what's going on is that one of these things is uninitialized. Which one was it? If I go back down, it'll tell me. Index 0 is out of bounds for array length. D17. So I guess it's on line 17. It doesn't really tell me what it is. 17. Right here. dothing.trans. This.args. Ah. Okay. Well, maybe Jester dash. Actually, if we'll add a error handling for that right away. Jester dash D-Lang. Fail. Okay, cool. Supporter. Fail. Nice. Why is it failing? Yip path.supporters, yip path.D-Lang. Then we were working on. So yip is just supposed to spit out a chunk of text. We're supposed to be working on OpenCL at some point. Okay, so here we open a file. That's going to be the part where it opens the file for whatever the path is, which is enumerated up here in that. And so when that's called here, it just uses the enumeration. This is also static, so I gotta keep in mind there is a lot of, there's a few rules with static. If you have a static thing like this, you have to do things in a very specific way. You can't really be like this dot and then call this dot from static. I don't think that works. Alright, so rand equals uniform, else write ln to do. Where does it do the fail? Default path.fail. So path.fail. Is this in a thing that handles that? Like, does eval for path.fail? Fail equals no arguments provide. escape, shift, control S. No need to do the shift ZZ today. I hope we can avoid Vim by just doing all of the work here and then sending it over there. Really trying to avoid Vim for the life of me. Anyway. Also, are we doing f.readln? When did I come up with that? Anyway. Where's the this.fail go to? Maybe he's at the top? Static void trans string file. All of these take string file though. Technically, we could just pass it to like up here and just have it inside of this. This.args. Alright, let's add in that exception for if. Technically, you can add exceptions though. Anyway, we'll just use an if statement for now. If runtime, or if this.args, then do thing.fail. So we'll do thing dot trans. No, do thing that isn't it? Do thing. Where do we call that? Well, actually, we don't want to do that because if it has nothing, it just goes and fails. But this needs to be called before this. Also, that will take this.args of 0. Which is basically taking runtime.args of 1. Although we don't really need to initialize this.args of 0. I don't think we should do that. I think that's kind of dumb. It just looks cleaner when you have this.args 0. Honestly, kind of unnecessary. But also, why doesn't it take like all of this.args and pass them into here? Well, this.args of 0 would be okay, so maybe it has multiple args and we're just handling it that way. You know, it's been like a week since I looked at this. Like, it feels like it's been a week. I haven't looked at this since last week. It's been ages. No, we don't need to do that. We need to actually just throw the exception. So what it will do... Actually, yeah, we can just do... Yeah, we can do this. This will work. And then we'll just go ahead and... do nothing, I suppose. We'll just put a string fail. Actually, that'd be a bad idea. We'll just put path.fail, right? Because the default would be write-ln path.fail. But then if you have a directory called no arguments provided, what if we just did a break instead? So it breaks the entire thing? Yeah, I think that should do. Let's go ahead and LDC. DMD. Break is not inside a loop or a switch. Got it. So it needs to have at least one arg. We know that much. And we don't want to initialize it with that because it doesn't look clean. Exit. I don't think that's one you can do though. Maybe return. Alright, let's switch over to here. Try it again. Yeah. Okay. So dot slash. Yeah, do it. Index is out of bounds for array length 0. If this dot args dot length equals then return. So that's one way I could do it, is to take the length property. See, nothing happens now. And what we can also do is, before we do the return, we'll put this all in a scope. I would really love to just use this, but this is how I'm going to handle the potential that you don't initialize anything. So, what the fucking shit? Me failing. Right ln, and then path dot fail. Facile fail. Fail. Alright, cool. So that should handle all of that. Go ahead and tab that. God damn it, I'm thinking of whatever the fuck it was. I'm thinking of Vim too much, guys. I need to stop Vimming so hard. Start cading. Fail. Fail. I mean, it does right ln here. Right ln path dot fail. Okay. I guess it doesn't do anything. Really. There we go. Fail. Fascinating. Fail. It's just writing fail. Right ln path dot fail should give us that. And these also fail. But also, doesn't that just pass? This just passes to. Does it pass to that anyway? It must just pass to that anyway. Because if we do delang, it just says 49. Oh, delang works. Supporter. Fail. Let's see what's wrong with that. Maybe my typing was incorrect. Ah, it's supporters. Duh. What am I thinking? Supporters 3 and 1. Then delang just gets like a fucking huge ass number for something here, some fucking reason. 46489. Probably because it's using a different rand generator. But it should just select 3 indexes, right? There's only really oh, and the way the algorithm I made for this works is it selects a random 3 indexes. So all we need to do is start grabbing lines from it. So we have to write ln to do. What was to do exactly? Well, to do is just going to grab out the lines and spit them out. So to do, let's see. So here we create our random number. Then it's going to grab like 3 or 4 lines. We just need it to write what was the numbers again? It was like, let's go back down and see what I'm getting. See 3 and 1. And let's try it again. Jester supporters 2. Doesn't ever give you 3, so it never gives you like the last index. Okay. So the way this works is it like reads through each line, and then it creates this. If file equals path dot supporters, and then it says rand uniform equals cast, or is it casted u short 1. Oh, so I cast this u short to 1, gives me a uniform, which is basically to say, which we make file size earlier on. Where's the file size initialized? File size is made like here somewhere for each string plus file size. That increases file size, and then it writes the line file size. For example, if you looked at whatever the fuck it was, the other one, writes the size of the file size is 4,648 lines or whatever the fuck. 489 lines. It's a fuck ton of lines. Huge number. Big. But not as big as bigger int, which I was working on. Actually, it was called bigger int. The biggest int of all time. It's gonna be 128. No, it's gonna be 256 bits, bro. Eat it, nerd. My massive bigger int number will be amazing. It's gonna be a class, by the way. Object-oriented programming has given me such great things, like constructors. Sorry, I'm getting out of my brain cells. Anyway, you need to import standard out random uniform, and then call that here path.supporters. Write ln rand. So whatever rand becomes. Maybe I should do file size +1 to indicate that it can be a little bit larger, and then we'll recompile. So that way it can take the lines of the file, and I think I have, it's this one. Okay. Nice. Good job. Viewer. Yeah, 3 lines. Technically 4. So, cool. I think it will work. If it has 3 lines, it will be like, oh, I can do all the way to this one. It generates between the 2 numbers. So that's why it's like 50-50 right now, which number it's going to create. And that will basically be the 1 line it's going to read, since this is going to all be like 1 lines. That's why I have it in the if statement. Cannot implicitly and then of type into u short. God damn it. Is file size... Why is it not u short? It's u short. It says u short there. I guess I gotta cast that to u short. You know what? Fuck that. I'm just gonna have a constant u short 1 stored in memory. Congratulations. You're a winner. So we'll just create cast const. Actually, no, just make a const u short, and then just put 1. I think I don't remember how to do these. Const u short. Fish is constant. No, it's like Schrodinger's constant, bro. No, the Heisenberg uncertainty principle. Uncertain. Uncertain. I like that. Const u short uncertain. Plus uncertain. Is that how you spell certain? Like certainly? I don't actually know. English grammar is not something I learned. Anyway, save that. Hopefully that's how you make a constant. I forgot how to do them, because I don't ever use them usually. Uniform cast. Uncertain. Okay. Oh, there's a cast. God damn it, who left the cast there? Anyway, yeah, it looks like it doesn't care about the const being weird looking. Cannot convert. Did I say uniform cast u short? Type int to u short? What the fuck do you mean int to u short? It's a u short. It's a const u short. How is it changing? In what way does it change? What? Cast int file size +1 of type int to u short. Cast immutable. It's not gonna change. Or something. Maybe. Maybe I initialized the constant wrong. U short const. Maybe it needs to look like that. I say it probably does. God damn it. Ark. It's killing me. My U short, not constant. Const U short. Bro, my brain cells are damaged now. Const U short equals uncertain, or name uncertain equals 1. Okay. Is file size a problem, right? File size, scope initialize rand, u short file size and rand for each string of I lines f, so for each of every lines of the file. And so go down, do 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 do. Oh my god. My brain cells are leaving my body. They're being expelled in the atmosphere. Alright, cannot implicitly convert. File size is a fucking uint. Or casting itself to a uint. Why? Who says it needs to cast uint? Bro, I don't want to cast to a u short. Why? This is lame. Pseudo lame. It wants me to cast to keep it a u short? Bruh, it's defaulting. This is my brain cells. Cannot implicit cast u short. Cast int. What? I just added cast u short. RUK Serioso. This is amazing. Wowie. Wowie. Okay, here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna take file size. And I'm gonna add 1. We're gonna keep my const u short uncertain equals 1 because I think it's funny. And instead, I'm just going to create, I'm just going to add 1 to file size as it exits the loop. No matter what. Plus plus. Boom. So, now the file size should be ++1 before it enters. So that's amazing. Alright, let's go and bmd gesture.d. What? U short of type int to short. I thought I said that was a constant. My Schrodinger's constant does not work, bro. Our Avogadro's number does not work today. He quit. Alright, you know what? We're just gonna cast U short then. Cast your short, bro. Okay, /gesture.d, bro. And gesture runs, and it gives me fail. Now let's do supporters. For all my supporters out there, Now I'm getting random lines generated for every line that's in the file. So we need to add more lines to that, and if you want to add more lines to the supporters file, feel free to do so. All you have to do is, I don't know, become a supporter or something. Oh, I'm shilling, bro. I'll put shill hard or something. But anyway, yeah, this is from a viewer, so we put that in there. It's basically any, like, thing, I guess. I don't know. Yeah, if you support in any way, I'll just put it in here. You can just tell me what you want. Be like, oh yeah, I want you to write this in here. And I'll write it regardless of what it is. So... as long as it's... as long as it's not something too terrible or evil or something like that, I'm sure nobody's gonna come up with. Well, depends. Just no slurs or stuff like that, I guess. Otherwise, I'll put it in there, because who am I to care? dmdjester.d. Nice. Coolio. Coolioso. So we're ready to implement the next feature then. So now that we've got rand, we're going to select a line from the file. So this one should go for each from I semicolon 0 to rand, which is created here. However, rand is initialized here. So here's where rand's at, where it starts. You can see it's inside the main scope, which is because it's a scope guarded. It's up there. So that means that when it gets to here, for each from 0 to rand, and then for each I from 0 to rand. And you also can't initialize... I'm going to rewrite this and use a for loop. If I equals rand, write ln. Oh, okay, so this is working. However, so write ln file.readline. What? I bet I can do file.readline.writeline. F.readline.writeline. Goddamn. What the hell does it want to do? Write line or read line? Both? Doing all of the above and then some. Extra. I guess I should retitle this video creating programs to rice out my server. Because, I mean, technically that's what I'm doing. It's going to rice out my server. But why it no worky? Let's go ahead and write ln I and put a semicolon afterwards. And then hit a Control S and escapes on that thingy. Bruh. dmdjester.d/supporters 0, 1, 2, 3. For each from 0 to rand. Ah, that's why. So instead of doing that, just go to file size. Because I had the logic wrong. So that's going to go to file size. So now, when I run viewer, it will just give me a random line of the viewer file. So hopefully the viewer files are clean and good. Control S. And work out to good. Yeah. Works really good. Alright. Supporters. 410. Just, what? What? Hold on. I need to re-add that and re-DMD. Hold on, I'll check your comment or your message in a second. Slash. Okay, it actually is working. Is it actually work? Oh, it is working. Cool. It's working very strange though. What's up? PewDiePie uses Arch, by the way. Ayo Archchin? Yeah. That's, yeah. Oh, have you seen my, Linus Torvalds backgrounds? It's inspirational to me. Hold on. My Linus Torvalds background is my inspiration. Very nice. I don't know why I have it set up like this, but yeah, sure, why not? Anyway, I'm writing my terrible object-oriented code. Why is there an else here? What if the else statement is... Ah, that's probably why it's not working. No wonder there was an else statement. If file... Oh, actually, no, it would work because of that. Because if it's this... Oh, but maybe it's not executing the rest of the code. There is no thing in the else parameters. You don't need an else statement there either. That's just going to select an endpoint. Kind of. So, really, I don't need that. Get rid of that. Control S. Go back down and compile on this page. /gesture.supporters. Just go ahead and DMD that thing. Yeah, and then to do. Aha! See, now it's executing lines below it. Although, it still looks a little weird. Just gotta keep hitting it until eventually it selects line 0. I think it's because what it's doing is it doesn't actually give you an option to have a 0. Let's remove the to-do for now. Because eventually I'm going to need to add one of these that does the same thing, but will just be in another if statement, pretty much. So if the file equals path dot should be at the top of the class, path dot delang, then it's got to have to choose like a couple of them. The God Linus, the God Gabin mentioned. So it will have to count back and stuff. It'll have to like decide where to end and start for a file. I'm like, bro, file.readln with this thing. But it's gonna give us an excerpt of the DLang Bible. So that way we can learn something every time I log into my Giga server TM. Which you can see here. The Giga server is up and running. Still works weird. Every software still works a little weird. Every software developer ever. I mean, to be fair, I mean, expected behavior is just random accident. At least that's how I see it. All I do is just slap a few lines of code in there and it doesn't work. I'll keep doing that until I eventually hit the point where I get my expected result. Just tweaking every line of code until I get there. So from 0 to file size. Here's the thing. In this... file size is ++. So, instead of doing ++ file size, we'll just do some kind of counter. So, file size equals... I guess file size equals I. I hope that works. But that's a string I. So I don't think you can do a for each for this either, but this would be how do I do this? I guess you'd have to do a count, but I'm not doing that. We're gonna add +1 for each line. So, but the thing is that line 0 can never end up in there. So, actually no, because it's a random number based off of that. So the random for path.supporters should give us a 0. However, because it might not, maybe I have to subtract 1 from rand. No, I don't think we need to worry about incrementing this because it's just used to sort of generate the random number. So I think what happens is when we get to rand, we have to subtract one because otherwise it's out of alignment from the rest of everything. I think that's what it is. So maybe just subtract one from rand. Obviously, we add one to file size. That's probably not the right answer. That probably explains why it's so out of sync, is because rand is generated off of this. So if it... Because it will never be 0. We know that. Nah, it should be fine. That's default for D, is it initializes as 0. I know exactly what to do. Should be minus equals rand. Or no, just minus rand. Which I learned about op unary yesterday, where you can add your own operators to your own structs, and I was like, I'm gonna make biggerant eventually. It's gonna be 256 bits, so be ready for my 256-bit biggerant number. It's gonna be like bigant, but bigger. Anyway, I've created my very nice code today. I think this should work, so let's go ahead and compile. Yeah, look, it gives me 0 there. Perfect. Question is jester.dlang. Oh wow, it just wrote out every single line of... That's great. But is it selecting the index? So we're getting that. We need to write the line for the thing. Big int. Yeah, massive int. My huge int, bro. So we need to read the line though. So if I equals rand. So when we do this, let's remove the right ln because it's kind of making things unclean, so I can't really tell what things are. Either that or I have to redo how I do my right lines. Let's go back down. Three, 0, and then it just puts out a space. So what's on index 0? Viewer. 0 should just be that line. But what if we wrote out what the strings are? Right ln. And then put string. Or actually, right ln I. I want to know what the strings are too. That's something else I need to do. I want to see what that is, because it might help me understand what it's doing. Me forgetting to... So supporters, that's the file path. And then... There's just a bunch of blank space in there. What if I remove some of the blank space? Why is there blank spaces, though? What? What is that? Hold on. So we only have this, really. There should be no blank spaces. We really need to get more viewer quotes, or supporter quotes for that. My bad. Huh. Maybe it has a new line character at the end. Maybe it writes the new line character? Ah, but if we were to do f for each, and then it does f.readln, what if we initialize a string, and then just assign it f.readln, and then pass the string to a write line inside this? That might be a bad idea, though. I feel like it'd cause a lot of problems, because it would potentially use a lot of memory. I don't want to do that. If I equals rand, well, does I ever equal rand then? That's the real question. So when we get to that, does I ever equal rand? That's a good question to be asking now. So if I never equals rand in that case, then we know something's wrong. I equals rand. I guess I could do dot right ln. I equals rand dot right ln. Because there's a weird reverse syntax in D-line where you can... True. True. False. Okay. And then... Comma... Actually, don't do that there. Comma... I. I also put a space in there, so like... Space it out. Alright, let's try that one. True, and then false. So it said line 2. It's true. Oh, it says rand is 2. 0. True. 0. So line 0, then it writes the line. It's not even taking anything out of the... Let's try the other technique I was thinking of. String line equals f dot read ln. And then just write ln for the line. This is messy, but it is what it is. If I can't get the line out somehow, we're just gonna have to do that. And then maybe I can do manual memory allocation for these, but I don't know. I don't think it actually... I think at the end of each for each loop, I think it just deallocates that. I'm not sure though. I should definitely check that. That's something I need to know. And make this look prettier. Keep the string away from this and the if away from that. Because eventually it will look really nice. I'll have it looking beautiful. Yeah, it's still nothing. If I equals rand, that doesn't even... And then return, maybe? That's basically how you would exit. Maybe it needs a return. So now it doesn't get to the part where it checks false. That's a good thing I just noticed. Let's try writing it here. Maybe it just doesn't want to write the line. Maybe I'm doing that wrong. Maybe it doesn't even have that initialized. No, it's got that. It's a global import. How the hell does this not even really work? Maybe file isn't open. Well, file clearly is open. Maybe it can't do it from a for each loop. Like, maybe it's like... That's weird. We do it here, we have it here. Let's try switching to a for loop. Which is probably not awesome, but it is what it is. So for, and we can initialize int. Let's just do a ushort. Or actually, why am I doing ushort though? File size? File size should never be more than ushort. Anyway, we don't need a super big number. Yeah, let's go ahead and do ushort I. And then put I++ at the end. Switch it to this. Maybe that gives us better results. Because maybe it's having trouble with the for each loop doing it, even though for each looks really nice. And the more for eaches you use, the more confused those beginners will be. Let's see. Found ... when expecting semicolon. Maybe that... Oh. It has to be initialized differently. I does not... Yeah, it has to be like I does not equal. So as long as I does not equal file size... Yeah, so if technically, oh right, technically you could do rand here, and you would just parse all the lines, and when it hits that line, then you just boom. Or we do an if statement that creates that, and then we write that one. Anyway, we'll just play around and see what we can get. Still no worky. Alright, well then, let's try reading lines of the file. f.readln inside this loop. And then write ln. There's a lot of write lines here. Control S. Maybe we complicated it by putting a string line equals there. But we are getting closer. Slowly. It just finds a blank space. Maybe don't minus rand? Maybe if because I'm minusing rand. True. Hold on, did I DMD it? Yeah, it's weird. Okay. Let's just do minus rand again. Okay, let's see. So we changed that. Am I dumb? Maybe the if I? It's writing, there is no read lines though. Am I misunderstanding f.readln? Does it not have read access? It has read access. Let me see. Let me open up the... f.readln. Dealing. Alright, cool. Function.readline. Read line from standard in. Let's see. Okay, that's not an example of how to use it from file. Where's standard DIO? Maybe it doesn't have it imported, so it just doesn't do it. What if it needs the number to be passed to it? Scroll down. Where's the standard DIO? IO stream, bro. stdio, and inside we have readf. We need to go to file. Bro, I've read a lot of these. Just scroll down. Wait a second. What? It's been changed. I don't remember it looking like this. Name is open, detach, lock, opposite open, pop open, raw read. Interesting. Rewinds. Calls rewind file handle. Sync. To be any data buffered by the OS to be written to the disk. Call flash before calling this function to flash the C file buffers first. I don't know what that is, but that's fucking cool. I don't know why. warp file. Ah, or read ln. Data. Reads a line using formatted read. Oh, okay. But return it as a specified type. A terminator. Like null terminator. So readln can also do that, but also reads it to a buffer. I guess if you want to, because if you have like a massive file, you don't want to just read the entire file. We've messed with raw read and raw write. These are important for writing binary bits. Parameters. By default, line terminator. Oh, okay. Interesting. There's a D car in there. Alright, so for each, well, standard dot in dot readln buff. Just putting it into a buffer. Buff 0 equals nothing, or like a hashtag, then can... Oh, interesting. Standard in dot readln. Oh, but that's how they initialize their file. So you can see that... Or maybe they're just reading from the standard input. Yeah, it's a file. EOF. If line.length greater than buff.length. Buff equal line. Then add that to words. Line.split.length. Oh. Nice. Well, I didn't really learn much, although maybe I'm calling readln wrong. I need to call to a buffer. The buffer is a car array buffer. Or can it be a string buffer? So I guess you could do a buffer. But, I don't know. We'll just try using a line for my buffer. And then I'll just put readln. And we'll put it into line. Actually, now... Oh, you know what it is? There's only a few ways you can call it, but it's not incrementing the actual line in the file. See, it needs to do file.close and then reopen the file. I figured it out. Because you read the file, right? You're incrementing the line. So the second we get done with that, we need to call file.close. So for each string of I lines plus file size, readln file size. This is where we need to call f.close. So let's create a scope. Let's not do that. Let's just remove the scope exit and just recall f.close. See, the thing is that actually maybe we do need to have that there just in case. But regardless, you should put f.close here. Okay, so f.close needs to be here. After no. After not doing that, don't do it there, because then it's just gonna break. But it needs to be on that, like right after that. So we need to call f.close, and we need to reopen f. So I guess reopen it. Hold on, there was something. Too late now. I'm not reopening that tab. Auto. Unless f.close doesn't. Hold on. Is there file.reopen? We'll just use file.readopen. Reuses the file object to either open a different file or change file mode if the name is null. Let's see about file.close. Okay, and as you can see, file object. Oh. File object. This is different from detach. It always closes the file. All other file objects referring to the same handle will be closed. We'll see a closed file henceforth. I see. So reopen would just be to open it again as another file. Yeah, we'll just do what I think. File.close, and then we'll just auto f equals. And it will tell me if I'm wrong. So that's the great thing about a compiler, is it can't compile if it thinks you're wrong. I don't think there's a file deconstructor. Imagine file deconstructor. It just atomizes all the bits. Reopen it with R access. Okay, and that should just be what I need to do. So this block here just reopens the file. Unless there's file.open. But I need to reset the line count, so... Because that's what happens. And so I think that's what I need to do. We don't need to do f.readln. We don't need to do all of that. We just need to write ln. And then we need to put an f.readln here. Save it. So that means every time it does that, it will do f.readln. And it will then write the line of f.readln. Variable f is shadowing just a do thing. Yep, f. Figures. Alright, we'll try f.open. Maybe we'll try f.reopen. O? Ah, f dot open R. It needs a R. I think it needs that. Let's see. Is it asking for a string? Write ln lines. F dot read ln. Alright, it should work now. And then we'll make it clean again. In RB. Cannot open file R. Oh god. It wants a path. Oh. F dot open just means reopen F. Let's try reopen. Understanding standard.file. No property reopen. Okay. I think it needs to be lowercase then. Using argument types for string name. This file on the This is kind of dumb though. Why am I doing all this? I feel like we'll just do it simpler because I'm not trying to. So we'll get our file size. We have that. We got our file size. Jesus, your background is AI slop. Have you guys fully embraced AI slop? Bro. This is Linus Torvalds. It's beautiful. How dare you? Anyway. I just think it's funny. It's a funny background that my friend sent me. I was like, damn. But, anyway, back to it. Let's see. Read line. Where was I at? My brain just stopped for a second. I think the problem is when we read the line and then I'm guessing it just counts up here. What if I did a second for each that writes out every line? And then it goes, okay, well now that we have a random number, let's redo this whole entire for loop because it's just shitty anyway. Instead, we need like a for each loop with a counter that also is able to do the 4 lines. The other option is to do while not end of line. I wonder, are we at the file end of line? Write ln f.eof, which is a boolean, so it should just write a true or false statement. We're pretty good at random. What am I doing? EOF. Cool, why not do that? Oh, yeah. Try that out. Yep, exactly what I thought it was. So what we need to do is close and reopen the creaton of Linus. So we have EOF is true. On scope exit, file.close. So that just means what exactly? So it just closes the file. We might have to pass these out of this. and then somehow reopen the file. But with, I guess maybe, yeah, I guess maybe I have to just reopen the file and then start the line read again. But that just means that my original code will work, so we'll just change this back to for each, and then we'll just do a for each of I from 0 to ... file size, because this is terrible and hurting my fucking eyeballs. So it incremented all of the lines of file. That's cool to know. To file size, and if we need to add a 1 to it, we'll do it here because I don't want to do all the dumb stuff. It wasn't this initialized as string, was it? See if this gets us back to where we were at. This is why you should keep a copy of your files, bro, so you don't end up doing this stuff. Still true. So yeah, still at EOF. Unless we read the file backwards and decremented it. Yeah, that's a bad idea. I don't know why I'd think of that. We could also try moving all of that into this portion. So, like, instead, what we would do is this. So since we can't reuse the file, we're gonna do a lot of fun stuff today. By fun stuff, I mean things that I'm absolutely gonna hate doing because I really don't want to have to do all this, but you know, sometimes it's okay to make a massive change to your code and enjoy it. Enjoy the massive lines of code. That massive lines of changing. So that just means on scope exit file close. We're getting rid of all of the tabs and indentations today. That's right. There will be no scope guards in my code base. Because you don't need scope guards for this. It's literally just a function. So lower everything down. This is why I said I was going to enjoy this, because I am enjoying it so much right now. Can you tell? See, the scope guard was overcomplicating everything. We only need to open file when it's, like, necessary to open the file, so that's what I'm going to do. Were these lower? I'm confused now. This is why we don't do such things as this. Alright, so here we go. Looks a lot better, right? And then I got my for each. You know why it looks weird? I know why it looks weird. Boom. Save it. Beautiful. I did a... okay. See, that means good things have just occurred. Because that means that there is no longer a file.readln. So all I have to do is create another scope, which has that as a feature. It's a feature. Wait. Is this... oh, right. I'm confused. Do I need to tab it all again? I thought I just untabbed it for good reason. No, those need to be down one. God damn it. My brain cells are leaving my body. They're being extruded as a paste. Fine paste, bro. Alright, cool. So now we got file size and RAM initialized here. Cool. And now, all I have to do is reopen file. Which I don't have to really reopen anything necessarily. All it is just redo the whole auto file and put it in this one as well. Which might not be the best because it has to open the file twice, but I suppose it is what it is. So, no, don't open the same file 20 times. Then we'll be stuck there for, like, ever. Paste it. Pasta. So there's my beautiful, beautiful code. It does a lot of beautiful things. Reopens a file. Alright, cool. Last line. It took me this long to figure out what it was doing. However, Rand is not Rand anymore. Where's Randy Random? Last line. So, that needs to happen as well. We need to plus our file size. How is this fun? Bro. All this is... Bro, you came here, bro. How are you saying it's boring? Bro, you chose this, man. I'm just saying. You chose to watch this. You're watching a guy program. Very interesting. Anyway, that should be good. God damn it. Why did I snake case it, bro? Yeah. Bro, on the weekends, this is all I do. Last line. Interesting. My brain cells are rapidly, quantumly, dematerializing. What was the file size again? It was like 4 lines? Alright, I said 3 lines. Why is it always choosing the fucking last line? Is it just doing file.readln? Actually, let's go ahead and readln to a... So you can technically make a buffer. Readln. We'll just put a string... I don't need a string buffer. What the hell? So write-ln I equals rand. So it writes that there, and it's like write f.readln. Maybe it's because I'm doing readln every time, and I only need to do it, and then I just need to readln, and then put it into a string. String match equals f.readln. Bro, I can't even spell math C. Yes, math C. Write-ln match. And I can just put in match right here. Nice. Then return. So that way it doesn't continue. That should be it. Question mark, exclamation point, comma, colon, exclamation point, comma. Last line. Good! This is beautiful. How much Bill Gates pay you? So write-ln I equals rand. So no longer do I need any of these write-lns. But now we've created a way of doing that. And we also don't really need to do much else besides this. Although, this is going to become an if-else statement. Because now I need to add in dlang. So if we go to dlang, it just reads out the numbers of dlang. And I don't really want that. Because that's fucking terrible. So we need to add if file.path supporters. We could just turn this into a function. Anyway. If file dot what is it? Or was it path? My brain cells. Path dot. Oh, if file equals path dot supporters. Why would we do this again? Bro, every time you say cake, it translates, or cake, it translates to cake. I think it's Bidoof under a different name. Oh shit. Alright, file equals path dot supporters. And then, why am I doing this twice? I mean, I guess I do need to do it twice. No. Rand can just be anything from there. We don't need to worry. Why is Rand in that? Bro, this doesn't need any eval. This is just kind of a no-brainer. Rand just exists, bro. See, Rand. So that's how we're going to do that. We just need to initialize file size first, which is all of that block. And then I can remove the right ln file size as well. So that way we can do that. Hello, hello. Every nickname with a number is a bot. Truly. Like TH3 fish. Whoa, 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 what are you saying, man? I haven't finished my super AI cluster yet. I haven't been replaced just yet. I keep knocking the camera tripod around. Like this one. Windows 3.1 levers back. Me knocking around the camera is awesome. So we got to here. So if that equals path.supporters, else if... So where's that at? Where does that end? Okay, so we add an else if. And we can do file equals path dot delay, and that's how we'll do it. Actually, if the path doesn't equal that, then just do, actually, yeah. That way if I had different files I wanted to put in for paths, it just automatically knows what to do with that. Does else need a thing? We might want to do else if anyway, just because I think we'll do else and then do a scope after it. I think that works. And then I can have this. We're going to copy that. And so we're going to use file size as an endpoint, and we're going to read the last 3 lines. Although, in this case, because we're not reading the file backwards, which is... which one does that go to? Where's the scope end at? Where does that go? Okay. That's not supposed to be down there. It needs another one. Needs another closing bracket. Where do you go to? Oh, you go to that? What do you go to? That? Okay. What about you? You go to... Oh, you go to the else. Okay, cool. Is Windows 3.1 better than DOS? You know, some people usually run Windows 3.1 in DOS. There's like a thing called DOSBox I heard about yesterday. I don't know what DOSBox is, but it sounds interesting. Honestly, I think DOS is interesting. Else, and then we have our thing here. So, instead of doing match, we need to create a range, and it needs to be if I equals any index within random, or like if I equals 0, 1, 2, 3 or something like that. I guess we don't even need that anymore, because we know that the supporter string works, and that's just one line, so it only reads one line at a time. Because that one I get to make. So that I can make it easy on myself and just make it one line. One-liners. Many liners. Let's see. So here does that, matches the thingamajib. Right ln match. If I equals any index of rand, like if I had like rand minus, maybe I need to increment, have an increment for it to like count it up for every match it finds. Let's say, for example, we have like a U short array. Not U short. Go with U byte. And actually, no, don't do that. That'd be a bad idea. So what if it's massive? We need to use a U short array with like, I don't know, let's say 5 lines, and equals a slice of any. Let's just call it any, and put 0 dot dot rand, or no, any of 5 to rand, or for example, instead rand minus 5 to rand minus 4. So that will be 0, will be rand minus 4, and rand will be 5, and that will create our rand. And so for each of those, like that's kind of what we want to do. But the problem is you need to have it within an OR statement. So that's not going to really work. Well, actually, we could do a count here. A second counter. I wonder if I can do double I. So instead of I equals rand, that's the secondary one. So anything that was I before needs to be that. And then rand of I let's try that out. And don't do a return this time. Now, if we've incremented I and it equals rand.length, then we can just know that it's time to exit. So we'll put a return on that. If I equals any equals 5, because we know the length is 5 no matter what. Length is 5. Even if I is initialized at 0, which I is a U long, by the way, as well as that one. They're both U long. But if they're initialized if they're at 0, then of course that is going to apply. Which U long is the maximum 64-bit data type for numbers, for integer. Even though it's not integer, you just say integer because it's U long. U long is a U long, not an integer. But it's 64 bits. Let's see. I, if I equals that, then return. And then also for each of those, technically we don't need to do this. U short any. Instead, we just do equals, if I equals any. Actually, I guess we would need to do that. Because it would need to have the, this is kind of a weird way of doing it. I'm sure somebody has a better way of doing it. Any of I. So that will just be the index, and then plus plus I. This is one way it would work. The problem is I is initialized there. So instead we'll just do... We'll create int I on the outside. And we're also going to need to do this before we get in there. Oh shit. Comma, semicolon, and u short I. Because that's going to be like 32 bits. Actually, no, it's over 32 bits, isn't it? Wait, so what is a u long? Oh, well, actually, no, this is 16. Oh, that's 16 bits, okay. Cool. So we're only using 32 bits total. Well, actually, 32 times 5 bits when we initialize this. Although, once it exits the scope, it should just destroy that in the garbage collector. Still, I don't really like opening a file and having all this in a string and all that. Well, the string should be, like, destroyed with every single operation of the for each loop, so every time it hits the end of the scope. Technically, it has to return back, so that string should just get reinitialized and reused. Or something along those lines. I'm pretty sure this is as effective as I can get it. Although it's not going to work. So, odds are, not going to work. And if it doesn't work, we'll just have to write out I. And I want to get I dot, or actually any dot length. Just write out any and give me the I value. That should be good. So now, if I go to here, okay, I see. That is kind of annoying. Unless it needs to be a dot dot right between them. That should do it better. Let's see if that works. Separating and arraying the initializers. Okay, we'll redo it without using an array. That's where I'm at with that. It's technically... we still need the u short I. Okay, that makes sense. Okay, so what's gonna happen? We're gonna need the u short I, and instead of using any, we're not gonna use any array initialization at all. It's kind of wasteful, honestly. So we're gonna still have a write out for I. Make sure to put a space there. We're still gonna have that. It's gonna just write all this information, so if it's II equals rand, which will be just a random number. Technically, I don't even need to write that out. We'll just write out if... This is fun. I like that. But anyway... The reason I was using any of I is because it's like... Yeah, there's surely not great ways of doing this. But I is just going to equal rand. Rand, and then... But that's the problem, is I either need to make it equal to a range, because I is never going to equal the range from this to that. So what we could do is when it equals that, we exit the for each loop. So here's what I'm going to do. I have a better idea that avoids initializing a second u short called I, and instead it brings us to creating a second loop It also avoids this eval handling for that. So instead, if I equals the value of what we're looking for, which is rand minus 1, we will exit to the lower level, or the lower scope, and then we'll enter another loop from there. It's kind of interesting. So, return. So return there, which should drop us break. And if it equals that, minus 1, that should be fine. I think I'm going to get rid of this. And then we're going to move everything else into another one. So that means that if it's less than rand minus 5, however, we can go for rand minus 5 and then create another for each loop which handles the rest. Which this is a easier way of doing it with less thinking involved. And then enter for each I from, although this needs to be passed to the next one as u short I semicolon, and there's no initialization there. I think you can get away with this and then do for each 0 to file size. Although you still need the read line, because that keeps the file incrementing. F dot read ln. So if it equals that, and then this minus 5, then for each I, we're going to read, oh, right. I guess I is passed off to the next one. For each I, and then continue on and just do the next one. So, but the problem is then we're handling I here. So let's call that one I, create double I. I think you still need that there though. If I equals a rand minus 5. Otherwise, read ln and plus plus II. Because that's going to keep our count when we go to the next one. Then we do our for each. We do plus, we'll plus plus I again. Somewhere in there. We'll do the same things, f dot read ln. But we're going to be writing that. So we're going to do string match. Equals f dot read ln. And that will give us our read lines. Yeah. So that creates plus plus. And then I just gotta write them out. Because those will do it. And we'll only do 0 to 5. Zero to 5. Hello, how are you? I'm doing good. How are you? I don't know, that's weird. I don't know, I don't usually ask people how they are, but what's up? I, string, and I think we're good. Oh, me being dumb. Plus plus. II. So II plus plus. It'll be the next language to be sloppy as I. Can't wait for ilang. Bro, I wonder if there is an I programming language. Oh god. Ugh. I programming. Is it a thing? Is it real? I/O is a object-oriented. Object-oriented. Thank you for AI overviews. Whoever invented such a thing is a genius. R learn programming. Python? No, let me post D-Lang. I saw Java. Java, bro? No, don't do that. It's fucking terrible. I started Visual Basic around 1995. Wow, that's crazy. Use what? I use FVWM3. I can switch between desktops. It's really cool. Well, desktops? Actually, it's a window manager. My bad. Yeah, I just use a window manager and then I set everything up on my own. So, I use FVWM3 though. I can switch. I can go to NVIDIA land or the Linux Deluxe. So I have many desktops in one. Essentially, it's nice. I like it. It's like really simple and works out pretty well for me. It's like the coolest setup, I think. Got on KDE users out there being like, yeah, KDE. We're gonna just put a very simple if or it should just return if it's 0 to 5 because I is gonna add every time. So like that's literally everything I need to do. There is no need to add a return or anything. So this is everything it needs to hopefully work, as all of the programmers say. And I wrote 106 lines of code in my class. Message retracted? Oh. Damn. Oh, nice. It just compiled. Thank you for this. It works good. Jester D-Lang. It is selecting a random index. The problem is... Now, the problem is simple. What do you think of Hyperland? I think it's interesting. I haven't really seen much of it. I think I tried it once. Let's see. How is this handled? Right on path.dlang, and then do thing yip yap path.dlang. So it passes off path.dlangs with. So when we get into this, should be passing use short file size. I guess maybe I need an else if. Man, I don't want to do an else if for that. That's lame. So it does write the random number it generates, but it doesn't get into here. D-Lang? I've tried others. I've tried like V and Odin and stuff. I really want to get back to V, but we got big things ahead of us. Big things as in giant machine sitting behind me that's making a lot of noise right now. I don't know if you guys can hear it, but the most beautiful machine of all time. The GPU-tron 500. We're going to make some great things on this. I've already come up with ideas on how I can use these GPU buffers for unintended things like, I don't know, packets and servers and things. Very interesting stuff. Packets. I got ideas. Potentially using it to communicate between the smaller ones or like communicating directly to the GPUs on it. This machine is very nice. It's idle at 0. It's literally doing nothing in there. It just sits there doing nothing. Bro, I just like to look at this thing. Void OS, by the way. That's what this one is. Oh, we've had it up for 4 hours? Is that uptime or... That's the time right now. Oh, okay. Wowie. What does this button do? Can I click it? Oh, that's just the time it updates. 2000 milliseconds to update. Oh, so it's doing like a watch dash N2 or whatever. Load average 0.01. It's idle right now. It's waiting for me to tell it to do stuff. Drive to 476 gigabytes. Anyway, I'm gonna make that tiny. Send it to the background, to the back rooms, bro. Technically, I have multiple layers too. If I wanted to click on one, I can just go to window layer 1. So I have 6 times 4 desktops essentially. Pretty much 24 different desktops I could use. Because there's 4 window panes and 6 desktops. Very nice. I think we all understand math though. Else, execute this code, and it's in the scope. So execute this code in the scope, and maybe I didn't write it in there good. I mean, it goes into the thing. Jester.dlang. We open it here, get our count of the files. Then we close it, reopen it here. And then we just gotta do something from there. Let's see if it's actually entering the scope. Entered it. Nice. Entered it. DMD the brain damage. Compile my brain damage into a one D-lang file. Right there. Entered it. Good stuff, guys. Nice, so it entered it in. What's going on inside of here? Sudo, what's going on? Tell me. Let's go ahead and do for each I and then write ln I. Write ln I. See if it's actually entering the loop. Might want to initialize that as 0, although I think it will be fine. Okay, it counts up to the number. That's good to see. And it settles on 3,600 or whatever the fuck it was. Gets a file size number. So it reads all the lines. Doesn't make it to the next loop. See if I is making it in the next loop. So if it makes it in the loop, then see what's going on here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. And it's not writing those. Oh. God damn it. I am dumb. This is a good thing though. I found out what I'm doing wrong, and it's really simple. I don't even need to do anything other than write ln, read ln. Wouldn't have noticed that unless this happened. Alright, here's the Bible today. It's giving us an excerpt of the Bible. Blanc by other means by core standard C.free. In some cases, there may be no reference in the program to the memory block. Also, to make it better, make it formatted better, let's just write each each line. So that to do that, it's going to be math, and I hate math, but let's go ahead and redo this, but make it like 6. But I guess, I suppose it's what it's doing is reading it forward. So we're reading it forward, actually. Oh, that means if it gets the last number, it will throw an exception and break. Ah, because I didn't start from the end and read it backwards. Here's what I can do to destroy that problem. Instead of operating on a range and doing it nice and pretty, I'm going to have to use a disgusting for loop. For u short I, which gives you a lot more control, though. I does not equal 0. You do need to initialize I as a number in this case for a for loop, and it needs to be initialized as 5. Then we need to put in minus minus I and create a string array which we can still do that like that. String array, which is 5, appends or match appends equals f.readln, and then we can operate on that in a for each loop afterwards. This needs to be done out here now. Which will do that into our for each loop. Create a scope guard. Nice. So that creates my scope guard for that string. Scope guarding a single string. That's how much I care, guys. I really care about my scopes. Semicolon. And then that just initializes it, so then I can just do match appends that in here. Match appends readline, and then that puts them in a reverse order. So the match of let's redo, oh actually, if I does not equal 0, which means we no longer need to have a u short called II, removes the need for II right there. But adds a need for a string match array. Man, I want to keep going, but I gotta go at like 5, bro. I got 10 minutes left. I want to get on the server. Which we can remove the II from here. Although, so that appends them in reverse order. We would want to, if I'm going to read them normally, we'll just append them in, set this to 0, and we're just going to change some numbers. 5. Bruh. Then we do for each. For each, member of I. Writes ln. Wouldn't this just be the fucking same shit I just did? Wait, no. Oh, right, that's why I was subtracting. This adds it up and keeps going forward. We want to go backwards. We want to read from the end to the beginning. Although the problem with that is, what if you get the first one? Either way, it doesn't matter. But this way removes all of the need for the fucking one thing. So I'm gonna use a for each loop. I'm gonna make it look nice. Right ln mem and boom. 2 loops though, I don't know. I don't know if I like that. Anyway, right ln, and then also we're gonna take the number we're at. So we'll just write out, where is I? Right, so for each I, actually let's add in, let's add u short I back in. So that way I can have my count of II. And then, boom. Eventually I could just do a random length from like 0 to... Oh, we could even add random length sizes for different things. Yeah, we'll continue as we're going. So what if it just gives you a couple lines of index? That'd be amazing. So I could read a paragraph. Okay, that's cool. Right ln II, comma, colon. Okay. Oh, and plus II. Since that's going to be like the overall count. II and file or the position it was at should be the same. So at the end of this, plus II should work. Nice. So that gives me a good count for actually the whole thing. Let's go ahead and give it a shot and test it out so that way we can make sure it works. Oh, I love that. Nice. Match of I. But if, well, yeah, I starts at 0, so it'll just go plus I. So I equals 4 then. So it'll go 0 from 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And stop, because it should only have, yeah, so 0. And then instead, just set it equal. I think that'll work. Before we do that, right ln I match the length. Just to give it a test, so that way I can check it. N, so it has a slash new line character. Oh, it's writing ends? Okay. Let's import strip. Actually, chomp. Maybe read f. F dot read f. Never mind. Read ln. Put in slash n. So that's the new line character. Decart terminator. Read ln string and decart terminator in a second one. Okay, put in slash n in here. Hopefully that removes it. I don't know if that works. Interesting. Okay. Readeln string. So as a buffer. Or an R for terminator. Does it need both the buffer and a terminator? S equals string. Maybe we put it in match I, and we do that at the end. So we use match I as a buff. And then new line. Hopefully that's how that works. If that's how that works, that makes things really easy. Just saying, that makes it really easy. Read on C. Oh, with C equals immutable car, must satisfy the, or R equals car equals immutable car. Yeah, let's not screw around with readln yet. I don't think I understand what I'm doing this time. Although I know we want to try to remove those. But match always is gonna be here's what we can do from 0 to ... Actually, no, not there, but on mem. So member of match, right? From 0 and then just subtract 2 from length. So it's still taking up the same amount of memory. I mean, you just don't see it, and it's more CPU intensive, masking my shitty ideas. -1 should be -1. I think that will do. And then it's gonna tell me, you can't do that. You're subtracting, mister. Did I actually just... Total duration. Oh god. Extends past the integer limit. Yeah. I love integer limit. Oh, wait, what? Hold on. Assert students.length equals female count plus male count. I love this thing, bro. This thing's already cooking. So it works until you realize that that's caused by subtraction. That's a subtraction overflow. And how does that happen? Well... somehow, somewhere, something is getting subtracted. Probably this one. For each member of... So from 0 to ... length -2 maybe? Maybe? Oh, yes. Let's see. Oh, so it doesn't even initialize the last member object. Wonderful. Go to 5 then. Try that again. Nice. Slice 0 to that. What is that? Why is it giving me this number? So right from there to your length minus whatever is not your length. Or unless, let's check the actual log. So did it even initialize a final one? Yeah, and it's /n. So, it just initializes an n character in the last one. What's in this one's last slot? Oh my god, these strings are huge, bro. Huge strings, bro. Just a /n on that. Oh, it worked. Wait, it actually just did it? I guess if it catches a number and it tries to write that out, it freaks the fuck out. It's like, what? What? Okay, so, what did I do? Change it to 2? Is that what happened? Many. Else many. This slice may have room for new elements before. Okay, it needs to be -1, not 2. Who dare send me messages at this time, bro? Alright, so we got it working, and then it's time to send it to the server. Oh, wait, what? What did it catch this time? Core exception, slice 0 ... Maybe we shouldn't be reading D-lang with D-lang. Slice 0 ... 18.4. Oh my god, it hit something. It's like integer overflow. Overflow error exception. What? Since pass array length of 1. Oh. Hey, if that last array... This needs to be done with an if. If mem dot length greater than 1, I don't need to do anything else. See, that just works. That will just work, guys. See, the reason it's catching that is because it's like trying to subtract from 0. See? It's gonna work every time. Unordered with respect to comparison operators. Short circuit, right associative. As I've mentioned above in this chapter, I will cover only functions, struct, and class templates. And the type, template parameters. 64.1 function templates. Bruh, this is so fucking amazing, bro. We have seen earlier above that input and output functions like writeln cannot be used in pure functions because they only access global state. Sometimes such limitations are too restricted. Next episode we'll add in random ranges, but I'm going to implement this to the server. So that way every time you log in, or every 20 minutes, it sends a message, and it's like, oh, here's a message about D-lang for you, so you can keep thinking, and then something like that. We'd also do supporters. So for all of our supporters out there, I can do supporters. Boom. 0. I dislike when something. Anyway, I can remove the debug lines as well. So, writeln match, writeln rand. We no longer need to write the line for random. We no longer need to write the line for our path, wherever that might have been done at. Actually, we'll keep that. We'll keep the writing the line for path. all of the struct members of a struct object. Well, actually, I'm gonna add a random length. Copy len. So length can be anywhere from 0 to 10. So let's go ahead and create a random length generator. So since it's really easy to make these anyway, I'll just go ahead and show you all. We just need to do auto, and I'm pretty sure you just do auto uniform or something like that. Oh, actually, just rand equals... Never mind, I'm gonna do that with the other ones too. So down here, rand equals, or actually let's do rlen, let's just do len, right? So we have len equals rand, no, equals like uniform, and then cast u short, and I'm pretty sure 1, comma, cast u short to like 20. So that way it can give me 1 to 20 lines of the book. Actually, we'll do from 5 to 20. And that way it gives me the most lines. So now if I do that, how do I implement that here? So what I'm going to do then is instead of using I, or using these, we're going to do len. And it's also going to go into here. So from there to len, for each member of match. I don't need to write len match anymore either, so get rid of that too. So I should just be able to compile that. It will throw an exception though. If equals path after expression. Expression len? What is that should be correct. Found if expecting semicolon following expression. Ah. Just means the one before it was fucked. Then compile. Dot slash, run of the other ones. Dot slash gesture dealing. Index 5 is out of bounds for array length of 5. Exactly, so that has to be dynamic now. No longer can it be that, it has to be dynamic. So match of I. Index 0 is out of bounds for array length of 0. And the length should just equal you can set length property equals len. That gives you a 20 length thing. What information are you going to send from the server with this program? Anytime I log into the server, this will give me a daily message. Return format. Class teacher string name. // infinite range. Yes, very good stuff. Return currents. Oh, here we go. If the value of the left-hand expression is true, it produces false without, and that's really early in the book, so I probably read that portion and I just don't remember what it was. Int minute, the compiler generated constructor is sufficient for the single member struct. 13.3, specifying float point values. Floating point values can be built from integer values without a decimal point, like 1, 2, 3, or created directly from decimal point, like 123.0. Floating point values can also be specified with special floating point syntax, as in 1.23 e plus 4. The e plus part is a fucking 10 to the power of. Blah, 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 blah. And then printed out http://dlang.org property.html. There's links to stuff in there. External resources in the PDF file. Wait, that's like saying file twice. Oh, 6,000 or 16. 16,000. This is the gospel of D, bro. Jesus Christ right here. D-lang. The output. This is very good. This is good. Awesome. I will be releasing this program at some point. Yeah, like a random quote from Cat V. Yeah, almost, but it's quotes from the D-lang Bible of D. Technically, I could put in VLang too. See, now, all I have to do is just be like, well, we have VLang, so if the case is not, if it's not supporters, if it's one of these cases, then it will do yip yap and pass the path off to it. So if the path is VLang, then it just passes it off. There's no really, there's not even a seed anymore. Nice. Technically, you can also inherit a class from this, which would probably need me to define an interface, so you can take what you want. But now it's time to set this up on the server. I'm going to do this in record time. So we're going to do scp jester, and then we're going to and we're going to copy that over to the one thing. Do I need to do / on that? Probably need to. Heisenberg at 10.1.10.237. Put colon. Okay, just for now, just do that. Colon, and then the path. Alright, that was really fast. I don't think I'm gonna find my SSH there. Actually, I already have my SSHs in this one. Cool. Heisenberger. Alright, we're gonna go ahead and Control B and go to 0. ls should see Jester. And we'll just go ahead and mv Jester to bash scripts. Actually, create a yeah, bash scripts. Oh, you know what else it needs? It needs me to copy the other stuff. We'll leave it there for now. We need to copy other stuff to the server. That's gonna be /tab data / Alright, on the receiving end, I'm gonna go ahead and create a new directory called data. Actually, Jester / and then, yeah. Wait, no, don't do that one. Jester tool. Actually, just lowercase. What am I doing, bro? I'm dumb. And then slash data. And then that will give us a place to put data. And then we're gonna mv into slash oh right, that's a root. Hopefully I didn't delete it. Nice. Cool. Then I go back to here. And then I can put all of that into there and then put it into cool. And then all I have to do now is vim dot bash rc to just kind of link it in there. Temporary linking. Insert, enter, enter. Export path equals. I should probably test that it works first. I'll do that in a second. And then this could also really break everything too. Oh, what's that one say? Fucking path at the end. So like add a path. Path. Cannot read that font color, bro. Alright, that should be it. Escape, shift. Wait. Shift ZZ. Alright, now source dot bash rc yeah, not found. Let's try dots echo path. Yeah. Oh, right. I'm dumb. I had this problem yesterday. It needs to be... Try it again, Jester. Cannot execute required input not found. Required file not found. Fascinating. Right. Oh, did I put the correct... Yeah, it's there. So, what else? Required file input not found. Try executing it without dot slash, and there should be required file not found. What? Fascinating. Required file cannot execute. Huh. So that's something I don't know about. Cannot execute required file not found. Maybe I need to recompile it on that system, because that one does use the Musel toolchain, or like backends, for all the C stuff. Potentially might require that. Oh, chmod plus X? Maybe I should, yeah, I should definitely try that. That should be my first thing I thought of. chmod plus x. No, not equals x, plus x. cd dot slash chmod plus x. ls data. Let's see. ls data. Yeah, it's about right. I guess and then put that one in Jester so I can compile it there. Alright, we sent it all the way over. Let's go ahead and LDC2. Alright, now try it again. Yep. It doesn't like it when it's not compiled with the local stuff. Oh yeah, Void OS with Musel backend. Ah, okay. Jester D-line. Thank you. Alright. So on startup, ls, actually cd into my home, and let's try it here. No such path for a directory. I'll figure that one out later. Anyway. All we need to do is add a thing onto the tmux instance. Well, I guess you know what I could do is if I really wanted to, I could just add one of these as just watch-n3, and it reads it every so often. Bro, I'm having fun with pricing out my server. Oh wait, did I LDC it? Anyway, see the problem is it needs to have the path, so. Anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and vim /bash. This is the server init script, and it looks really fucking painful. But don't worry, it's okay. Tmux. Oh. Tmux. New dash window. We'll call it. Session name. Underscore name. And we'll just say that that's fine. And then we'll give it a name, right? It needs a... So the name is here, and we'll just call it D Bible. Watch dash N30 actually, yeah, watch dash N30 dot slash, and then send it into Jester. Actually do home path Jester slash Jester, and then D-ling. Actually, we'll just do that for now. Oh, and then it needs a CM at the end. No, maybe not. That's when you send keys, though. I'm just gonna assume it works with a full window too. No, it won't work unless you send the keys to it. Tmux send dash keys dash T for target. Underscore name. .0. Nice. Oh. Cool. That's all it should do. But when it sends keys, it doesn't do anything else. And also, there's literally only one ping. Server dashboards. This is cooler than server dashboards. So we're gonna do tmux dash kill. Actually, no, tmux kill dash server. Then we're gonna exit. Re-SSH. Ooh. That's not good. Vim bash can't find D Bible. Send keys, and it sends it to monitors. So when we create the new window, oh, I'm dumb. Got two things mixed up right there. Delete that. Insert. I said insert. Amogus. Insert that. And then do dash N. Pretty sure that's what it is. Tmux kill dash server. And then just run it again. Oh. Exit. That's all I got for today, I think. What is this? D-Lang can't open file, data D-Lang I. Every 30 seconds. Run that. Cannot open file, dot data slash D-Lang. The path needs to be respecified for the server's case. However, what does it think the path is? Yeah. Recompile then. We'll SCP this over to there. Alright, and then we'll recompile it. Go to the other one and recompile. CD LDC2. It should be recompiled. Control B and then 2. So every 30 seconds it should just send me the message. But let's go ahead and exit that. redo that command. Resend that over there. Because it's trying to open home data. That's not correct. Hold on. If it's trying to open home data, use, let's just find a way to create a path for it. Actually, I'll do that on my own, probably. Fuck it. That's enough for today. Enough fooling around. I'll see you guys next time. It's been a good one. Have a nice day, guys.